The next civilization on our journey of social systems is going to be China. And China, we have two dynasties, the Qin and the Han, but we're mainly going to focus on the Han dynasty here. So, with the Han dynasty in social classes, we have four classes we're going to look at. The first two are the bureaucrats, and these are the government workers. They're the ones that help run the government. They pass the civil service exam, so they are highly educated. They are their ideas and philosophy is deeply based in Confucianism, and this class is open to everyone. However, I have that in quotation marks because to be educated, you're going to have free time and you're going to have the money to be able to get an education. And so the only people that can really do this are the elites, the landlording class, the gentry, as you might hear them called. And they're the only ones that can do it unless a poor person is a very, very smart fellow or can get sponsored by an elite. Excuse me. So, the way you can tell these people out, the bureaucrats out, is their special dress that they have and how they carry themselves around the society. So, they're the top dogs. Then below them are the landlords that aren't in the bureaucracy. They are educated, though. They might have tried to become a bureaucrat but failed the testing. They control the peasants' land, and they usually buy it out from them because of poor harvest or whatever, and then they let those peasants rent the land after that, and they make lots and lots of dollars by making them pay half their harvest or three-quarters of their harvest at times. And this will cause a sour relationship between landlords and peasants. So the next on the list is then those peasants. They're not the lowest class. Instead, we're going to see the merchants are that, but the peasants will live together with their families. They will live on that land. They will give it up, though. They might have to sell it if the harvests are not good to those elites, and then give at least half their harvest up to them. And when they start losing more and more and more land and things get worse and worse, it will usually lead to a revolt. And this is not only true of the Han dynasty, this is true of any of the major dynasties that we have. The Qin were part of this. The Sui, Song, and Tang will be later ones that we see this happen with as well. The example during this time period, again, is that Yellow Turban Rebellion, where they wanted equality. They wanted the land to be shared equally with the people, or at least peasants to have control of their land. And so they will rebel against the Han dynasty. They will not succeed, unfortunately, but it will eventually bring down the Han dynasty, and peasants will gain more control as the times change until we get to the next dynasty, the Sui. Now, merchants at this time are the lowest, and they will continue to be the lowest until Confucianism ends in China, and even then it will still kind of fall away during the communist period later on until more modern times. So merchants are the lowest because of Confucianism, because they do not create anything. Instead, they just buy what other people have and then sell it for a higher price. So they're viewed as kind of not necessarily evil people by Confucius, but not good or productive people. However, they are educated usually and can be very, very, very wealthy, although it doesn't help their social status like we see usually in societies. And then the last part here is the patriarchy. Confucianism is very much of a way of putting men at the top and women below them. As you can see in any relationship between a man and woman, the man is superior. A mother will even become inferior to her son if her husband dies. Now this weakens after the fall of the Han Dynasty, and we have Taoism come about, which brings about a little bit more equality between the two, but never fully equal until we bring some other civilizations in that come in and change things and bring their own culture in. However, women could gain some political rights if they're in that elite class. There are some examples of women getting political office or influencing their husbands or relatives. However, this is always viewed as negatively, and the reason why the empire or the dynasty is falling apart. They get blamed for it. They become the scapegoat, unfortunately. And this especially happened with Empress Wu, who was the only female empress in the history of the dynasties. So she's the only one, and she happens during the Han Dynasty. She actually does a decent job, but after her death, things will revert more to a patriarchal system. And the last thing is, women did have some rights in that they could control their own dowry and make their own clothes, which would then make they could then sell those clothes to make some money on their own. So they did have some rights to control their own money and what they wanted to do. However, they were really primarily linked to their husbands and what their husbands or fathers or family could do, and not on their own skill or ability.